Hey everyone, welcome back to this channel. This is Everything Sociology with Ode Agbaka Godwin, and today I'm going to break down the essentials of writing a great book review within minutes. But first thing first, I want to implore us to please like, share, comment, and kindly subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Whether you're an avid reader or a student or someone who wants to get better at sharing your thoughts on how to write a book review, please stick around. So by the end of this video, you're going to have an idea of how to write a well-structured, a thought-provoking book review. So let's explore. So first up, let's talk about the distinguishing factor between a book review and a summary. So a summary is a recap of the main ideas in a book, the storylines in a book, while the book review itself goes way deeper than that. So a book review is an analysis of the whole book from the beginning to the end, from Genesis to Revelation as it is. And then it goes way deeper, as I've said, than the summary. You talk about what worked in the book, what doesn't work, what matters, what doesn't matter, and you also critique the book itself. When you review a book, you think of it as sharing your own experience, right, about it, and then you highlight some of the main ideas, but focus more on how these ideas make you feel, right, whether they are well presented and why they are important. So those are some of the things you need to consider. Every book review has a structure, right? So it starts from the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So a good review follows a simple structure: an introduction, the main body, and conclusion, as I've said. So start with a quick introduction, mention the author, the genre, and a very short summary. Then give your overall impression in a sentence or two. You don't need it to be bulky, right? You don't need to write an epistle, because it is a book review. Now the main body. So the main body, this is where you get to share your thought. So you talk about the major key themes in the book. So what's the main message itself? If it's fiction, maybe the main characters, their journey, or the conflict in which they face. So if it's non-fiction, you focus on the main argument or insight. So I've actually demarcated two genres itself, that is the fiction and non-fiction, and what is expected of you to do. And then your conclusion is where you get to wrap up everything, that is starting from your introduction to body. And then you talk about how pleasurable or enjoyable the book is, how interesting the book is, that is if it is, and if it's not, you make it known right there. Now that I've outlined these preliminary stages in which you need to go through to analyze or carry out your book review, now these are some of the key points you need to note if you're to write a very comprehensive good book review. Now you need to read the book thoroughly. That's the first thing. You don't need to go online and search for another person's review of the book, because it's your personal story in which you need to relate with that of the author. So you need to read that book extensively and thoroughly, painstakingly take your time to read the book. That's the first thing to do. And another thing is to take notes. When you're taking notes, you start with a summary. So summarize the main ideas in the book itself. The next step is to review your notes. Outline your summary, learn to highlight those summary, and determine the length of your sentences or your summary. And another good thing you need to pay attention to that's really important is your paragraphing, right? You don't need to write something that is too bulky or an epistle, as I've said. So be mindful of that, and also learn to form an opinion. So if you're forming an opinion, your opinion should be in tandem with that of the author. Don't write anything that is outside of the book itself, because the book is like a guideline. It will guide you through itself. So forming your opinion is another thing, right? And then bringing something that is alien, that is not in the book or text itself, it's a totally different thing, right? So there are different dynamics to writing a book review. Now write out your notes, right? So after the preliminary steps in which I've given your introduction, your body, and your conclusion, I mentioned some other steps, that is read the book thoroughly, take notes. After taking notes, highlighting them, determine the length of how you want your summary to be, then review your notes, right? And then form an opinion itself. Your opinion should not go contrary to that of the author. It should be synonymous to that of the author. And then write out your notes. When you start writing out your notes, that is when the book review itself comes to fore. I want to break this down to make it more easier for us. So let's talk about some key elements that are involved in a typical book review. First, we have our evaluation. So after your evaluation, we have our style and tone, then we have our relevance, and then we have our ratings, our recommendation, and then we have our critique. A very important thing you need to take note of is in every book review, you need to criticize, right? You need to critique it. Find out some lacunas, some lapses that are inherent in the book, and state them out clearly in a respectful way or manner. First up is evaluation. So you ask yourself some question. Was the book well written? Was it thought-provoking? Was it engaging? What are the strengths and weaknesses? Those are important questions you need to take note of if you're to write on the evaluation of the book or evaluate the book itself. As a book reviewer, you need to ask yourself these questions, basic questions. Was the style in which the writer utilized, was it formal, was it casual, was it humorous, was it fun, and does it fit the content of the book itself adequately? You need to answer those questions first. And then on to the relevance of the book. This is like one of the most important aspects in a book review. So you ask yourself as a competent book reviewer, how does this book contribute to me personally? How do I connect with this book? Or how are my audience who are going to read the book review itself or go through it, how are they going to connect to the book? And then how does this book contribute significantly to a particular field, to a particular profession, to a discipline? Those are key questions. Another quick tips. Now, giving a rating can actually make your book review get to a wider audience, right? So it can be in form of a thumbs up, stars or numbers, etc. I'm sure we can see that online when we go online on different platforms. Now you ask yourself, is this book fit for beginners, those that are in their immediate stage or intermediary stage, or expert, or etc.? And then recommend it to the right audience. Who are your audience? Before we wrap up, here are quick tips you need to keep in mind if you're to review a book. The first thing is to keep it balanced. If you're keeping it balanced, you don't need to be biased about anything. You need to be transparent, and that is why you need to pick out some key areas in which the author or the book needs to improve on. So you need to make suggestions. For instance, if it's either some spelling errors, typographical errors that is, or the arrangement of words and the semantics that were used and all of that, you need to write out those things. You need to point those things out. Those are the criticism, constructive criticism that is. You need to also be concise. You need to avoid spoilers, and also do not write something that is bulky, right? What you're writing on should have a strategic end point. You need to be strategic in your ideas, in your input. So that's why I keep emphasizing on the fact that you don't need to write an episode, a textbook for a book review. Lastly, be honest and respectful. It took authors years to write their books. So if you're to criticize constructively. Do not insult the person of the author, right? The reputation of the author, right? The academians, it took them years of painstaking investigation, of researches to put those things together. So respect that fact as a book reviewer. So there you have it, the essentials of writing a great book review. So if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, to comment, to share, to subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be abreast with the latest sociological content or educational materials out there. And if you've recently read a book, endeavor to drop a review in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts on so much more. So see you in the next video. I'm going to review a book, and I'm sure you don't want to miss that. Thank you.